Good afternoon and welcome to the October regular meeting for the Tullahoma Planning Commission. The chairman, Paul Schwer. I'm here to call this meeting to order. Looking around, we do have a quorum with Mr. Andy Hall absent, but we have all other members present. 6 is a quorum. And at this time, I would like to ask everybody to rise and have Mr. Alexander Rice lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. And just as a point for the meeting is just to be. I was asked to remind everyone to speak directly into the microphones and to make sure that we can be heard on TV and whatnot. So, thank you for that. Item number 4, read and approve the minutes from the September 15th meeting. I'd entertain a motion for the minutes as written.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Mr. Rice.
Second.
Second from Mayor Seaborn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And abstained? Motion passes. Minutes are approved 6-0. Item number 5, general public comments for items not on tonight's agenda. If there is anyone from the public tonight that would like to speak on an item that is in the purview of the Planning Commission but yet not on tonight's agenda, you will be allotted 3 minutes to speak on that, and I invite you to come forward at this time to be recognized. Seeing none, I will close the general public comments and move to reports from commissioners and staff, and I would like to turn it over to Mr. Luthi.
Yeah. I would like to advise the commission, we are working on getting your iPads back to you. I apologize for the delay. There's been some issues with getting those set up, but you should have them ideally by the next meeting. I know the delay is not ideal, but we're working on it. And then I know that Commissioner Schwer and Commissioner Sellers, I think your terms are either set to expire here relatively soon. So we can look at either getting those vacancies filled, or if we're wanting to extend the terms, we'll have to look at that. But if that is something we'd like to do, I can talk to a city attorney about that and see what we would need to do to put that in place, at least until we get the comprehensive plan approved, so we don't have a changing of the guard in the middle of that. And then there may be some review needed for the December Planning Commission meeting. I know that we're getting up to the holidays with that meeting. I believe that one is currently set for December 15th. That's still a little ways out from Christmas, but it can kind of get difficult with people not being present around then. So I'll bring this up again at the November meeting, that if we need to reschedule that or tweak that at all, we need to do that now. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Luthi. I would ask, when the iPads are ready, just let us know so we can maybe come pick them up to review this stuff beforehand, if that's on the table for November. Any other comments from the commission at this time? All right.
I have one. We haven't set a study session yet for the comprehensive plan.
Correct. That'll be coming out to you this week to get that scheduled.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. All right. Moving on to the approval agenda. I'd like to entertain a motion to the agenda as written.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Ms. Sellers. Second from Ms. McGee.
So just for the sake of discussion, I'd like to make a motion we move number 1 down to number 5, Sweetwater down to number 5, just to give other folks an opportunity to go first if they don't want to wait through all that, but that's up to the commission.
All right, we got a motion from Mr. Seaborn to move item 1 to move item 1 to the bottom of the subdivision plats. Second from that.
A second.
Second from Ms. McGee. I'll call a vote on that. All in favor of moving, swapping items number 1 and 5. We'll just do it that way.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And abstained? All right, motion passes to amend the agenda. With that, we need a motion to approve the agenda as amended. I think we already have that motion, but
Yeah.
we just need to, do we need to vote on that? Okay, vote on the motion as amended. All in favor all in favor of the agenda as amended? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. The agenda is approved. There is no old business, so moving on to new business, we will start with the Hauser Minor subdivision final plat. A proposed final plat to create 4 new lots of record at 5230 Old Manchester Highway. The applicant is Mr. John Best, and this is a public hearing, but I would like to invite the applicant to speak for this time. And Mr. Andy Best, you are recognized.
Yes, my name's Andy Best. I'm the land surveyor hired to do the division of the property. We finally were able to get TDEC pre-approval for the septic systems. So we had postponed it last month, and we're back on this month, so we're seeking approval of the 4-lot subdivision.
All right, thank you, Mr. Best. All right, with that, this is a public hearing. I'd like to invite anyone to come forward and speak on this at this time. You will be allotted 2 minutes of time. Anyone wishing to speak on the Hauser Minor subdivision final plat, please come forward. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Move to staff comments. Mr. Luthi.
This subdivision plat before you is looking to create 4 new lots of record. There's no additional public infrastructure or roads or anything involved with this subdivision. This subdivision is located within the UGB. And this one, we received this one, I think 2 or 3 months ago. We had to wait for some review from TDEC for those soil sites, and that review has been completed. And so this has been brought back before you for your review and approval today.
All right, thank you, Mr. Luthi. With that, entertain a motion from the commission.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Sellers.
Second.
Second from Mr. Klein. Any discussion on this? Mr. Sellers, you're recognized.
Now, just want to make sure on lot number 2, there is sufficient room, even with that perk area that's outlined to build a house on it, and still meet the requirements, clearance, setbacks, and such.
Yes, the box that you see in the back of lot 2 is the building box, and that's plenty of room to put a 2,500 square foot house.
Okay.
And the soil site, the soil site is allowed for 3 bedrooms on
Okay.
that lot. So.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments from the commission? All right, I'll call a vote. All in favor of the Hauser Minor subdivision plat? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes 6-0. All right. Moving on to item number 2, Sagewood Phase 2 Minor Subdivision Final Plat. A proposed final plat to create 36 new lots of record at 0 Short Springs Road. The applicant is Mr. Alan Howard. I'd like to invite the applicant or representative to come forward this time.
Good evening. I'm Nicholas Northcutt with Northcutt Surveying, and I'm representing Mr. Howard on this. In short, Mr. Howard had previously gotten preliminary approval on this division. He has already built out and completed phase 1. This would be phase 2 of that same development, and he has been working on that and getting all the major infrastructure completed and everything, and he is seeking final approval for phase 2 of this development.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. This is a public hearing, so at this time I'd like to invite anyone to come forward to speak on the Sagewood Phase 2 Major Subdivision Final Plat at this time. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and move to staff report. Mr. Luthi.
Yeah. This is the Phase 2 final plat for the Sagewood subdivision. The Phase 1 has already had its final plat approved. I believe construction is nearly done. Lots have already been sold off to several builders on Phase 1. I believe it's one builder that has now purchased most, if not all, of the lots there. And this is for Phase 2 of that subdivision. There was a modification to this plat. On Lot 61, there was originally a stub out to that property to the south. That has been modified. That modification came before the Development Advisory Committee. Everyone got a chance to look at that. Since that stub out requirement was a requirement from the fire department for their required access, I let them review that change. There's, in order to have it be compliant with this many lots, you either need to have a second access point or a fire access lane. There was a fire access lane that is installed on Phase 1. So they do meet the requirement for having the other point of access. So that modification got passed as being compliant, so that phase 2 is able to continue to be brought before you today.
All right, thank you, sir. All right. Entertain a motion from the commission.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Sagewood final.
Yes, sorry.
All right. All right. Motion to approve from from Mayor Seaborn. Second.
Second.
Second from Ms. McGee. Any discussion on this from the commission? Mr. Sellers.
Yeah, I'd like to bring up that back when this was first proposed, there were concerns among many of the board members about fire access with this many houses back, this long, narrow lot. Was a lot of discussion about, the fire lane was needed so there wouldn't only be one entrance wouldn't be blocked possibly, but that only went back like 12 houses. I was originally objected to having this many houses on that long lot from a fire safety standpoint, and it was brought up, well, there is a stub out onto the Anderson property, even though it's not developed. It was discussed that that it was allowable to have a stub out to a future development. And I guess I want to bring up with the board tonight my concern about not having that. We approved it with a stub out. Now, I spoke with the fire officials today, my concern about it, and it does meet the fire safety requirements, but I wanted to bring this up, the concerns we had before, and get comment from the rest of the board.
And where is the one that's in the existing phase 1? Where is it at exactly?
Yeah, the current fire access lane's in phase 1.
Where is it
It's
at?
right behind the first, you don't see it on here, but it's the first like 6 or 7 lots.
Okay.
It doesn't go very far back in there before it turns into where the mailboxes are going to be located. So it doesn't go very, there's 2 entrances, but it's only like barely for the first 30 or so lots, which was a first concern.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether we want to
have some of the similar concerns. I was the possibility of connectivity there, I think would be more beneficial for the whole community rather than, I think it would be best for the backside of this community to be, if it was allowable at some point, to be connected rather than to be shut off for the same reasons. And also, there's a buffer area for stormwater, it looks like. Who will the HOA be responsible for that? Or is that something that will be part of someone's lot and they will be responsible for the buffer area as well?
So that buffer area is on I think it's a stream or a creek, so that just removes the natural area. Because of that buffer, like, you can't really go in and mow it or cut it down. It's a natural area. It has to kind of be left to its own devices.
Okay. What about the retention basin? It looks like behind these houses in the very middle, there's maybe a retention basin of some sorts. Is that part of the HOA's responsibility or a homeowner? HOA?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what was the purpose of removing the stub?
It was a request from the developer.
Would you like me to speak to that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sir, yes.
Yes, so the developer, Mr. Howard, had, upon being informed that there would be, or the stub would not be a necessity as long as he kept the fire lane, he decided to remove the stub. However, the way that we have set this up, for that very corner lot back in there, should the opportunity for the connectivity ever be there, then he has allowed for that future connectivity through there. Like right now, for the purposes of the final approval, he has removed the stub, but the way the lot is set up, we've still kept the radiuses and all that for that future connection, and he does plan on retaining that lot. For the possibility of the future connection, but it was his prerogative at this time to remove the stub since the fire lane did in fact meet the requirements. But there again, he is leaving the option open for that stub and
So in
for that
terms of
future connectivity.
So in terms of removing the stub, what you're really saying is he didn't pave that out?
That's correct.
Okay. So it's a bit of cost
Zero.
savings at this point, sounds like.
But he is leaving the window open for that, yes, sir.
Okay.
So if there is development on lot 61.
Yeah, the way the
is there-
setbacks, everything on that lot are set up is that it will be like there's a future road there, yes.
Is there an easement to make sure that we maintain that?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay.
But the way the building setbacks and everything are set up, it is set up for future connectivity through there.
Well, how wide does the road have to be? to go
50
through?
foot. Or the margin would have to, the right-of-way would have to be
But
50
then
foot.
they would have, and then the other 25 foot would be usable for the driveway to get it back to that house at lot 61?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
So there's a 75 foot, well, I'm not sure what that 70, no, I don't, if it's 50 foot, how's the driveway going to get back to number 61 if the, I guess it'd come off of the road that goes through?
Yes, sir. It would come
Okay.
directly off the road, and at the time that our future road is put through there, their driveway would just, I'm sure a portion of that driveway would be absorbed in the road and then
Okay.
would just connect up to where the future road is built. Yes, sir.
And you said Mr. Howard's retaining that lot?
That's correct.
I mean, I can't. Okay.
I'm opposed because I see if for some reason he doesn't retain that lot at some point and he does sell it off, you're going to have a homeowner very upset that you're taking part of their yard away
Yeah.
for the connectivity. I think if it's going to be possibly connected at some point, then the infrastructure needs to go ahead and be put there in my mind. Otherwise, it's probably just not going to happen in the future.
Do we have standing to require that?
The requirement for connectivity is a requirement from the International Fire Code. It's not part of our zoning or subdivision regulations.
So does that mean we can't require it?
The requirement that would require the connection can be satisfied either by the connection or an approved fire access lane.
Okay.
And there is a fire access lane that has been deemed to be satisfactory.
I'm not sure I agree with that, considering how short that fire lane is going into that subdivision.
But our fire department has agreed to that. Mr.
I
I'm
have a
sorry.
comment about that.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't speak for Jeremy.
Would Mr. Howard be willing to grant us an easement to that, which would never affect it if it ever is developed into that other property? That way the property owner that bought lot 61 would know that there's an easement there that might possibly be developed in the future and could put their driveway in there accordingly?
I believe Mr. Howard was opposed to the easement just because if there is a public easement there, then even if there's an easement without infrastructure actually being built, then somebody in that other development could tie into that without.
Why don't we make it a conditional easement then? I think I could create the language for that so that nobody else could tie into it unless it was actually going to be developed with prior approval or something. That's something for you all to consider, I think. I don't like verbal agreements. I don't think they're enforceable at all, so we ought to have something in writing.
So if you had something in writing that said that he intends to retain that lot, would that be
That might
satisfactory?
If I could review that, that might be sufficient, yes, sir.
Okay. I think that would be something he would be willing to consider.
Saying that he would not sell the lot, essentially.
That's correct.
Or at least that portion.
Or that he would retain it. Yes, sir.
Well, the language would be that he would not sell the lot unless he dedicated an easement to the city for access to that other property. And that way, we would know that that would happen if it ever, we don't ever know if this Anderson Farm is ever going to develop in anything anyway within the lifetimes of any of us here. But we'd have something in writing that we could record in some way so that someone who bought that lot would know that that was a possibility in the future.
And it could be something completely different than that, and that lot could be subdivided, and it could be for something other than just the
Well,
Anderson.
it could be approved with that contingency, that lot, would be under the ownership of the original developer until the time that he, decides to either put the easement there or finish the infrastructure out.
Okay. Thank you. We can
Thank you.
I'm not sure how to word.
I mean,
Should-
we
should
can
we-
get a motion on that.
Should we, is this something that we should postpone pending our attorney reviewing a document rather than approving with a contingency?
I think you could just give a conditional approval, conditioned upon that. We could create the language necessary to satisfy y'all's concerns about that.
I think that would, I agree with that approach. So if we wanted to develop a motion to say that this is approved condition, you know, given the condition that there's a written agreement with the city for retainment on lot 61, then we can do that.
Is that going to be an amendment to a motion that's
Yes.
for approval then? Andrew, you want to go ahead and say it? I don't know how to say it.
Alex?
Alex, I'm sorry.
Call me my brother.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll make a motion to amend with a contingency that the owner retain lot 61, or at which time he sells it, would allow an easement before the sale of property for connectivity. Does that make sense?
Okay. I'll yield it.
Yeah.
Here.
Just made an agreement that lot 61 is going to be retained by the owner.
Yeah. Or if he decides to sell it, then he would grant an easement prior to selling the property for the connecting infrastructure.
The sale of that property would include an agreement about the easement. Yeah. Any other discussion while we wait?
Something like that, maybe.
All right. We have from Mr. Rice, a motion to approve the item pending owner retaining lot 61 or grant easement when lot 61 is sold. Second on that.
Second.
Second from Mr. Sellers. Any discussion on the amendment as written? Vote on the amendment. All in favor of the motion as written?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And abstained? All right, that motion passes 6-0. Here you go. All right, and now, back to the original discussion. Are we ready to vote on this? Any more discussion? All right, let's vote on the Sagewood Phase 2 Major Subdivision Final Plat. Motion to approve contingent to the previous motion. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And abstained. All right, that motion from Mr. Sellers, that motion was from Mr. Sellers and Mr. Klein. Or, I'm sorry, no, that's not. I'm sorry. That was.
I think I made the original.
That was Seaborn and McGee. Sorry, I'm at the wrong spot on my notes. All right, motion from Mr. Seaborn, and so that the Sagewood Phase 2 is approved, provided that we get that contingency. Okay. All right, item number 3, 1400 Cedar Lane, minor subdivision final plat. A proposed final plat to create one new lot of record at 1400 Cedar Lane. The applicant is Mr. Darrell Welsh. I'd like to invite the applicant or representative. Mr. Best, you're recognized.
Darrell's here, but he wanted me to come up here and take care of it. It's the old Sears building now. What's it called, Darrell?
Get Darrell up here anyway.
Comp? What's it called?
All we're wanting to do, Hart and Family, I'm Darrell Welch, and I'm representing Hart and Family Partners. We have a contract on the property currently. All we're wanting to do is subdivide. It's on a big tract, and we're just trying to make it a smaller tract.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, thank you. All right, this is a public hearing, so anyone would like to speak on 1400 Cedar Lane, come forward this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Mr. Luthi, staff report.
Yeah, as you can see, the existing lot is quite large. There's currently a commercial building on this newly created lot. This subdivision just seeks to separate that existing building from the remainder of the properties to make that its own lot for that building and to create it as a unique lot of record.
All right, thank you, Mr. Luthi. All right, motion from the commission.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve. Approve the final plat from Mr. Sellers. Second from Mr. McGee. I'll write that down this time. All right, any discussion on this? Mr. Sellers.
Looking at the drawing for this, I'm having a difficulty understanding exactly what the lot we're talking about generate. Is the whole lot that's shown on here, is that, and the building, is that all the lot that we're generating?
Correct.
But it's part of a bigger area that we don't see on this drawing,
Correct.
right? So they're pulling this out of what is a much larger piece of land around it.
Yes.
Right, okay. It was not clear when I looked at it what part we were generating.
The rest of the land's from the east, is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, it's not, the rest of the land's not shown in this map,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah,
That's what was
that's
confusing. It's this over here.
Yeah, Hardin family. Yeah.
Or is the lot, the red square inside the bigger?
The red square is the building.
Yeah.
And then the surrounding lines of the actual lot itself. The existing lot continues past 7th Street up toward William Northern Boulevard. Has 1440, I believe, is also on that lot. No, that one's already separated. This one here, if you open it up, it goes down along Lakeway Place, William Northern, then extends a little bit south, borders up against 1330. The area to the east of the existing building, that lot, which will currently have 1420 and 1440 Cedar Lane on it, those areas are undeveloped. But what you're looking at with the new creation of that lot is just going to have the building, the 7th Street East Avenue access easement will be next to it, and then it'll contain the parking lots and the other features for that existing building at 1400 Cedar Lane.
Okay.
Will be on that new lot.
All right, thank you.
Got it. All right. Any other discussion? All right, with that,
I'm still just having a hard time understanding.
I know. I am too.
It's, you know which of these buildings this is? You said that was the old Sears building?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that one there.
I know which one we're talking about. Sears building, pool building, let's see, lots of things.
Some insurance thing, yeah. All right.
all right. So it was the building was on a much larger lot, including all the land to the east. They're wanting to divide that up. My assumption would be to do something with the remaining land that's with something else,
Okay.
but at least get that one by itself. So,
I can see it now.
okay,
I understand.
all right, we're good. All right, with that, I'll call vote. All in favor of the 1400 Cedar Lane minor subdivision final plat? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And abstained? All right, that's 6-0. Green Thornberry Road minor subdivision final plat. Proposed final plat to create 3 new lots of record at 890 Thornberry Road. The applicant is Timothy Green. I'd like to invite the applicant to come forward this time, or Mr. Northcott.
Nicholas Northcott again. I'm representing the Greens on this, and they were just wanting to divide this property. We, they were they were originally wanting to try to get 4 lots out of it, but due to soils and layout of the existing house and whatnot, they were only able to get the 3 that you see. But anyway, we've gotten through all the TDEC process with suitable number of bedroom approvals for all the lots, and so we are seeking approval for this minor division. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, this is a public hearing. I'd like to invite anyone to come forward at this time to speak on the Green Thornberry Road minor subdivision final plat. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Staff report, Mr. Luthi.
This is another minor subdivision out in the UGB. Lots 1, 2, and 3 all have independent access off of Thornberry Road. Each one has their soil areas delineated, and there are no special exceptions or considerations for this plat.
All right, thank you, Mr. Luthi. Motion for the commission.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Mr. Sellers. Second.
Second.
Second from Mr. Rice. Second from Mr. Rice. Sorry, I'm not speaking into the microphone. All right, any discussion on this? All right, seeing none, call the vote.
I wanted to ask Mr. Luthi if the RS1 zone is completely complied with by this subdivision. What are the minimums? I'm assuming that's a Coffee County zone.
So Coffee County, since this is in our urban growth boundary, if they were to build on the lot as is, it would follow the RS1 zone. However, when they are subdividing the property, anything that has to do with planning commission review or zoning, this is in the UGB, falls under our zoning. So while it's currently zoned RS1, we are reviewing it as if it is R1 under our zoning because it's in our urban growth boundary.
Thank you.
All right, any other discussion? Make sure I'm looking everywhere. All right, I'll call a vote. All in favor of Green Thornberry Roads minor subdivision final plat?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And abstained. Motion passes 6-0. All right, with that, we will move on to item number 1 here, Sweetwater Major Subdivision Preliminary Plat, proposed final plat to create 21 new lots of record at 0 Wilson Avenue. The applicant is JSE Enterprises. I'd like to invite applicant or representative at this time.
Hello, everyone. My name is Zach Blair. I'm a qualified hydraulic professional in PG for TTL. I performed the initial hydraulic study of this property earlier this year in June of 2025. It then received concurrence from TDEC on both our findings as well as under the notice of coverage. And if you have any questions about that study as well as subsequent work we've done, then I'm happy to ask any questions to both the board and people in the audience.
All right, thank you. All right, this is a public hearing, so I would like to invite the public to come forward at this time to speak on this. Anyone that wants to come forward is allotted 2 minutes of time. And please address comments to the commission, and we will address questions after. Thank you. Mr. Groh.
My name is Tony Groh. My name's Tony Groh with Groh Environmental. Done a lot of wetland delineations throughout the state. We do a lot of support for Pulte, D.R. Horton, Lennar, all over the state of Tennessee and the southeast. I was contracted by Mr. Tuck to look at this site. It has potential for wetlands, and I did go out there and look at it. And there are hydric soils, and there are facultative wetted plants that are on the border of the property, adjacent to the border. I did file a report to the Columbia Field Office contradicting what they had found, and noted that they did not follow Chapter 5 of the Corps Manual, Eastern Piedmont Manual. I've also notified Ben McIntyre and Tim Wilder out of the Corps of Engineers Office. In the planning world, when we plan something with a development like this, is that planning requires you to identify all the resource constraints with the site before you do anything. The reason why is the cost can come up later on that will probably be unbearable if they're caught at the very end. So one of the first things you want to do is you want to get clearance from TDEC, which the client did get, not the client, but the developer did get that from TDEC. But then there's a coordination also with the Corps of Engineers. One is state jurisdictional waters, and one is U.S. jurisdictional waters. If you do not get clearance with the Corps, they can come back to you and require that a delineation be done, because you have to determine whether it's U.S. jurisdiction or not. If they determine there's U.S. jurisdiction, then this is probably over half an acre of wetland, then they can require that a permit be put together, an individual permit, which goes through public comment. And then you go through a planning process where the developer has to offer 3 additional sites that are less impactful than that one in the area, and 3 additional site plans that show less impact. So in the planning process of environmental, it can't be overlooked just thinking that you can get through with it and not hit you later on. Down the road, it will hit you later on. So the best thing to do is to get all those boxes checked off before you go any further.
Thank you, Mr. Grove. Your time is expired.
I'd like to make a motion to extend the time to 5 minutes for discussion.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Right. You got 3 more minutes, Mr. Grove.
Yeah, that was probably more the end of it. That was just an introduction to permitting process with the state and with the Corps of Engineers. A lot of local entities have gone through this process of going through state coordination, but have not satisfied the U.S. Corps. I advise that the city of Tullahoma would take the U.S. jurisdictional water status very seriously, because we're in an area where there's a lot of wetlands. I've been called to look at several properties with the Hart family and others that we may enter that area that needs to be looked at carefully. It can't come back to you like the city of Lebanon, where they had to go through a process of coordinating, otherwise they were going to lose their authority of what they do over stormwater. So the main thing I really want to emphasize is that there are wetlands at this site. They're problematic, they're disturbed wetlands, so they have to be evaluated by a certain procedure under the Corps manual. It's called Chapter 5. I did that, and now TDEC is coming out Wednesday to reevaluate it. And the Corps of Engineers will be making a visit soon, sometime in the next couple of weeks. That's it.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Let me finish the public hearing. Anyone else like to speak on this time?
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Rebecca Tugg. My husband and I own the property to the north of this 10 acres. And
Can you state your address, please?
yes, we are at 431 Old Shelbyville Highway. And I have an aerial. May I share that with the board as well?
You may.
Okay.
Pass it around.
So I am not here because I oppose growth, because I do believe growth should be thoughtful and sustainable and in harmony with our community and the neighbors that it serves. The proposed development off of Highway 55 behind the Lone Oak subdivision where we live does not meet that standard. One, it's a proposal of 21 new homes behind our 5 stately homes facing Highway 130. It's very dense with 21 lots, and it is not in keeping with the neighborhood, and it has no minimum requirements of square footage or aesthetics that we know of yet. So that's one concern that we have. But the most important concern that we have is the environmental impact. This site of 10 acres does contain wetlands. If you see that middle lot in the middle and those dark areas, you'll see two dark areas running straight down. A lot of it goes right onto our property. Ignoring these current conditions is this property would proceed, it would displace more dirt and increase the runoff onto our homes to the north. It is well documented that we already have water issues. We had videos, but once we got here, we were understood that we couldn't play those videos. But we have called the city many times, me and our neighbors, about the water issues that gets up all over the road and where the electrical boxes and those things are. So it is well documented that we already have a water issue there. These water issues with the rain and the downfall happens numerous times throughout the year. here. At least 3 of the 5 of our homes there have addressed these issues by adding extra drainage protection and encapsulating under our homes, which with sump pumps and dehumidifiers, and that's a very expensive undertaking that we have all done. That's been a great expense, and now we feel if this subdivision is allowed to proceed as designed, then that will overload our systems even more than it already is. So that's our main concern, and we can't take any more water. We have enough, and if we were allowed to have our videos, you would see that when it rains, it stands inches all the way around and runs and it looks like a lake around and between our homes. So if it's permitted to be this way, we increase the risk to our property and maybe even taxpayer-funded fixes. I don't know how that works with the culverts and the roads and the ditches and things that could go wrong. I don't understand all that, but I know that it's a potential. So lastly, our zoning codes exist to preserve the character of our areas and our communities. The proposed density of 21 building lots could erode the very qualities that make our community desirable. And also, not to mention, we're at the end of the runway, 3618. So that's a concern that we have as well, because we've had parachuters in our backyard, we've had a plane crash across the road, we've had several things happen. So we also pay very high property taxes as well. My husband and I alone pay over $6,000 a year for our 6 acres in our home on that property. So we do want to protect it from any water damage, and we want things that are built there to be nice, and we hope that they will be. So we just are for responsible development and for the infrastructure to protect the environment and to protect our homes. That's what we're asking for mainly. And furthermore, if the developer is here, I don't know if they are or not, we'd be happy to purchase that wetlands from them, and that would help solve some of this. But I would like to just say thank you for your time to be heard.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Steve? My name is Mike Posey, and I live 2 doors up from the Tucks.
Can I get your address, though?
We're on 341 Old Shelbyville Highway.
All right, thank you, sir.
They're 431. There are 2 houses between us, or there's 1 house between ours. But I need to know who's going to be responsible for the retaining ponds that are shown on the plans after all the development is completed. Because basically what I see from the proposed plan, there are 2 ponds, and both of them are behind my house, behind my property. Now, I've already spent $40,000 to have my basement encapsulated because I didn't know I was going to have to do that when I built the house. But now I've had to spend $40,000 to encapsulate the basement. I don't want to spend any more money because more water is running on my property. 2 of the videos that we had hoped that we could show showed the property in front of my house as well as the Tuck's house, and you can see the water running. The ditch is full. The water is running over the road, and if anybody's driving down that road, there's going to be an accident at some point, and somebody's going to get killed. The other issue that I have is I got enough water, and I don't need more water on my property. And if you clean off that area behind me and put houses on there and roads on there, that water's going to come downhill, and that's where I am, is downhill. So I'm very concerned about this, and I would ask you to look at this real closely, because we don't need any further exacerbation of the problem that we have with water. I've been to the state, I've been to the city. City says they can't do anything about the water issue because it's the state road. I've been to the state, TOD. They've come out, they've tried to get some of the ditch cleaned out, and they've tried it especially down at the creek level to get it cleaned out, but it hasn't helped. It still backs up, and it backs up all the way from our house. We don't need any more water, so I appreciate your listening to me.
All right, thank you, Mr. President.
Good evening. My name is Russell Cradle. I have a couple statements here, one of which is I've been asked by Eugene London.
Mr. Cradle, can I get your address, please?
The address for Mr. London's property is...
I need your address for the record, though.
Okay, 725 Old Shelbyville Highway.
Thank you.
And Mr. London here resides at 1600 Wilson Avenue, and he owns the property at 1314 Wilson Avenue, which adjoins the proposed development. But he could not be here tonight, and he asked me to read this as a matter of public record, and then I have a statement of my own that I'd like to read. It says, good evening, my name is Eugene London. I reside at 1600 Wilson Avenue and own the adjoining property at 1314 Wilson Avenue, which borders the proposed Sweetwater subdivision site. I respectfully ask the Planning Commission to take a phased and cautious approach to this project until scientific and environmental reviews confirm that it will not harm the wetlands or the surrounding properties. The track already produces heavy runoff that floods nearby yards during major storms. Adding 21 new homes without verified hydrology and buffer protections could significantly worsen these conditions. Section 4-10.5 of the city's subdivision regulation requires riparian buffer zones and prohibits approval of any subdivision that increases flood flows or damages. The TDEC permit for the site remains pending, which means the state has not yet confirmed compliance. I am not opposed to responsible growth, but I urge that approval be phased and conditioned, starting with no more than 10 lots until the science confirms that surrounding homes and wetlands will be protected. Thank you for your time and your commitment to thoughtful, evidence-based development. Respectfully, Eugene R. London, President and CEO, Systems Integration Modeling Simulation, Inc. Again, my name is Russell Cradle, and again, 725 Old Shelbyville Highway. Ms. Rose and I own the 60 acres to the west of this 10-acre tract. I sent each of you an email this morning stating our position on this property. The neighbors and homeowners that join the Sweetwater subdivision have serious concerns about this project. The runoff issues from Stillwater subdivision into West Fork Rock Creek are a perfect example, and we are providing you with video evidence, proof evidence of the runoff also of the runoff of Sweetwater and the potential legal implications for the city. In addition, the known wetlands that exist on Sweetwater property were ignored and not thoroughly tested. The major errors in the original hydrology report are indicative of the lack of testing on this property. The satellite image that you have in front of you clearly shows the water flows from the south to the north and must not be ignored. Mr. Tuck and I met with then Director Charles Rush and the developer back in January. The developer stormed out of the room after 30 seconds, only to be talked back in by Mr. Rush. We were there to discuss his plans, and he was nothing but rude, combative, argumentative, and insulting to both of us. On 3 separate occasions, we had to ask him to stop yelling at us that we were there in good faith. The only question we were asked by this developer was if we would give up a $3 million profit to not develop this property. My answer was yes. I would rather count my friends and neighbors than my money. Is it in Tullahoma's best interest to place a high-density subdivision at the end of Tullahoma's airport's primary runway 1836? I remind everyone of the events on June 8th of this year when the skydiving plane crashed due to pilot error. There are city restrictions that prevent me from relocating a house to another neighborhood if the houses are not plus or minus 10 years of age of the house I'm moving. That's a reasonable restriction to protect the existing homeowners in neighborhoods, but you allow me to build any house I want or as many houses as possible on the same lot. Again, what sense does that make? If you choose to allow this to proceed, then my advice to anyone that lives in Tullahoma that owns a nice home with a vacant lot beside it is that you buy that lot to prevent a developer from buying it and slamming several homes on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cradle.
Good afternoon. My name's Joel Tuck. I live at 431 Old Shelbyville Highway, as my wife has already attested. So I believe the existing 10-acre tract land proposed to be developed in the Sweetwater subdivision, encompassing 21 lots and 3 detention basins, roads, sidewalks, etc. It's a lot of impervious cover that you're fixing to cover up with hardscape. And I know it's been engineered. I know that you have 3 detention ponds there. I know they're shown to be dumping out if they flood onto our back properties, and that's a concern to all of us. So we have a major portion of the said development containing wetlands. I know there's a disagreement with that with the existing engineer, but I think with TDEC coming out this week, we'll have an opportunity to be able to clear that up. Does it or doesn't it? If it does, then we're back to square one. So I'm asking you hold up. Let's get the final answers from TDEC and the Corps of Engineers before we start approving something that really might not even be what we end up with. I've looked at this and I've spoken directly to TDEC, Corps of Engineers, and as Tony has previously stated, representing us, that the respective site visits for testing and determination are coming up. A couple of things I noticed, you got a couple of rules, the 401 rule he mentioned, the 404 rule, both state and federal, that need to be appeased because you've got illegal runoff basically right now going to transpire. So if you look at the satellite plan, I mean, you see the dark areas and you see the amount of runoff, and this has been going on for years. So to come in and change that direction of that water at this current time, that water runs through our yards to the ditch, to the creek. So that's telling you there's wetlands evolving here that come all the way through our yards into the ditch and to the creek. You can't expand or deepen the ditch because you have utilities. You have gas lines, electric lines buried in that ditch. So without a whole lot of expense, you can't dig it out and make it any deeper to capture any more water that's coming off this field. And I wish you could see the videos because it is a tremendous amount of water. The other thing I'm asking the city of Tullahoma is you probably need to maybe go back and look at the sequence of events and how we approve things. There's a lot of counties, Williamson, Rutherford, Davidson, Wilson, a lot of counties out there that say, let's get TDEC and let's get Corps all approved before we start dancing on this as far as what a site plan can look like. Because a lot of changes can happen after the fact. That'll eliminate a lot of these meetings and discussions. If you can just get the answers from those folks to say this is what you're allowed to do, then you can go forward with the design. Speaking of design, has there a traffic study been done on this? Is that required by the city of Tullahoma? It might be by TDEC, but I don't know if City of Tullahoma requires one. Also, civil engineering wise, we always did soils testing. Go out and see what you got. You do cores, you figure out how deep the rock is. This is a residential neighborhood, but we're building these detention ponds that are 4 or 5 feet deep. What if he hits rock? You just make them wider? I mean, what's the answer? I don't know. But I'm interested in finding out those type things before we say, this plan's good, let's go. And let him spend a lot of money on engineering and design to get to a permit stage, then gets redlined to death to correct these things based upon what he's found out once he gets into it. So, I realize that we're throwing a lot of things at you here today, but the detention basins are a major concern to all that are here this afternoon. The design of them, how are you going to control the mosquitoes? These are wet detention basins. Mosquitoes are horrible. The life safety issues. These lots are designed to go right up next to the detention ponds. I know we're saying the HOA and the management of taking care of these detention ponds are going to be by the HOA. Who's initially going to fund the HOA to set it up and have enough funds there? We're going to have a bond set up to take care of these? Are we, it will be years before an HOA gets in place to where they would have the funds to be able to take care of these detention ponds. In the meantime, the developer sold the lots and he's gone. So then does it fall back on the builder? I mean, you might have 10 different builders in here. I just don't know that we have everything lined up and thought out to be able to say this is how we're going to handle this.
All right, thank you, sir.
In closing, I just ask you to consider all the issues.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? All right. Seeing no more, close the public hearing. I will invite the developer back up to address those questions, and then we will go move to staff report. Sir, you're recognized.
Once again, my name is Zach Blair. I'm the QHP and PG for TTL that conducts this initial study. I'd like to also point out that the aerial that you all have before you is from 2021 after an 11.5-inch rain event. So I'd ask you all to consider that when looking at this. If you look at other aerials, they do not show that water runoff to be as prevalent. We have had the TDEC involved initially. That was voluntary by us. Our go-by or MO is that whatever project we work on, we have TDEC know that we are doing work and we want their concurrence. When TDEC issues that concurrence, they notify the U.S. Army Corps as well. Now, since then, I was called on the way down here by Ben McIntyre of the U.S. Army Corps, let me know that there was a public complaint against this project, to which I said, understood, we will do an approved JD, which is their jurisdictional determination where they will be coming out to our site and looking at it from the Army Corps standpoint. So we are working with the Army Corps on that. We are being forthright with them on everything. Also, I'd point out that since our June study, we did come back out to the site last week after we learned that there was a public hearing tonight, and we wanted to see what the conditions were then as well. We also understand that since our site visit, TDEC has started using a predictive wetland software, which they then map wetlands. And on this site, you will see that in certain, if you go onto the website, you can see a wetland area. We drop data points to that area as we do on all of our sites now, and we did not find data to support a wetland being there. We did them by the Eastern Mountain Piedmont, which was cited earlier that we did not do. We did follow that Corps manual because that's the geologic province we are in. So we have concurrence from TDEC. We are working with the state, but we are working with the Army Corps now, but we have not identified wetlands out there, and we have had them concur it as such. But once again, I'm open to any questions on that. We're just trying to make sure that we go through all the proper regulatory avenues to ensure that this is done properly. We understand the concerns for water. I understand that myself, but we are just trying to make sure that all regulatory boxes are checked and make sure that what is done is correctly. But this time, we have not identified wetlands, and TDEC has concurred on such. Now, as far as them coming back out to the site, they will not be coming back out to our site without our approval. My guess is when they were told they were coming back outside, they will be going to the adjoining properties that they have to notify us first before they come to our site. But if they choose to do so, we are happy to meet them out there, but we have not been notified that by the Columbia Field Office. Our last correspondence with them was that concurrence of our findings of no wetlands.
What date was that?
That was, excuse me if I can.
Approximately.
So we did our study, we submitted ours on June 23rd, and we got concurrence on July 25th, 2025. It's usually a 30-day turnaround. So we received concurrence from TDEC on July 25th, and then that work was then submitted and put into the notice of coverage as a resource report that was dated August 13th, 2025. So it's been viewed by TDEC twice now, our report, and received concurrence of no wetlands. So I just like to bring that forward.
Can you clarify your like what's happening with Ben McIntyre?
Ben McIntyre, so someone from the public, I do not know who, has issued a formal complaint saying that wetlands have been disturbed on our property. So the U.S. Army Corps contacted Mr. Brock, our client, earlier today and said that a formal complaint has been issued. So usually in the case of this, what would happen is they would require him to do a hydrologic determination. However, we have already conducted 2 site visits and done so. So I've been in touch with Ben McIntyre to say, hey, we will be submitting this tomorrow for an AJD to receive your approval and to show that what our findings are. So I'll be turning over all of our data to the Corps tomorrow in an AJD and being compliant and cooperative with them.
Okay. Do you have an idea of the timeline of that process from here?
Usually it's about a 30 business day turnaround. Same for TDEC, but with us already having the report done, we're just going to go ahead and turn everything in. We do have an LRN number. I do not have that. I received on the way down here, which is a facility ID number. They will then attach that to it so it's known that this has already been entered in the system, so we don't have to go and wait in line in the process with everyone else. We can go ahead and say, hey, this has been entered into the Army Corps system, and we'll be submitting all of our data to support that.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from the commission?
I guess.
Hey, Mark.
Use your microphone.
Speak to your microphone, please.
The drainage easement, what does that consist of when we say drainage easement?
I cannot speak to drainage. I'm an environmental professional.
Okay, all right, I'll let you go then.
All right, let's, before we start getting if we have any more direct questions for him, but other than that, let's entertain a motion.
Okay.
All right, we got staff report first. But, all right, thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Luthi, staff report.
Yeah. This item before you today is a request for review and approval of a preliminary plat. Preliminary plat seeks to create 21 new lots of record and 3 open space tracts. This one is zoned R1 and is located at to be determined Wilson Avenue. I would just like to advise the commission that right at this time, this is just a preliminary plat. A quick brief overview of the general approval process for major subdivisions is a submission of a preliminary plat. That preliminary plat needs to identify site features, lots, open space tracts, the street, sidewalks, utilities, that general information. It needs to designate areas for wastewater and stormwater, those detention areas that you're seeing. But again, that's just a preliminary plat. This does not create lots of record. It does not create the lots. It's just a preliminary plan. After that preliminary plan has been approved by the Planning Commission, construction plans are submitted to the city engineer, to our MS4 stormwater engineer, and to the Public Works Department. Those construction plans are where you're going to have the required provision of the wetland study, the notice of coverage from TDEC, all of their engineering for the storm drainage and other infrastructure, and all of that sort of information comes in the grading plan. All of that's part of the construction plans. Those construction plans are reviewed and approved by the Public Works Department and the city engineer. Bonds are issued, disturbance permits are granted. For developments of this size, you'll also need a disturbance permit from the state of Tennessee, from TDEC, to be doing that work. And then at a certain point, when the developer has done enough of that work where they're comfortable getting a bond for the remaining public infrastructure to be installed, that's when this would come back before the Planning Commission again for a final plat review. Once that final plat is approved, like the one we just did for the Sagewood subdivision, that's when that actually creates those lots of record and finalizes that design. Now, some of the concern is between changes that might happen while the construction plans are being developed. If there are minor modifications, those are slight changes to, I think it's 4 fewer lots, no changes to public infrastructure placement or location. That can go before the Development Advisory Committee. All committee members get to review those changes. If all committee members deem them to be minor, then those changes can be made and just reflected on the final plat. If those changes are deemed by any committee member to be a major design, or it influences more than 4 lots, or I have ultimate authority at the end of it to deem any change major and require it to go back to the Planning Commission, a new preliminary plat will have to come back before the Planning Commission for reapproval. So if there are any discrepancies that come up with the development of those construction plans, at any point, ultimately myself, I can decide it has to go back to Planning Commission, and usually that's if it affects more than 1 lot or they're moving around infrastructure or easements. You'll have to reapprove that. And so a new preliminary plat will have to be presented, and that'll have to be approved. So this one that we have today is just a preliminary plat. If this were to get approved, it would move on to the next stage, which is the approval and the review of those construction plans. And then if there are any significant changes, it would be discussed at a DAC meeting and then most likely brought back before the Planning Commission for reapproval of that preliminary plat if there were significant changes. And then from that point, it would come back to you again for review and approval of a final plat.
Clarification on that. At what point can they break ground?
The only time that site disturbance can take place is after approval of the construction plans. Once a preliminary plat is approved, it specifically says in our subdivision regulations, you cannot start grading, clearing the site, removing trees, moving dirt, or interacting with the site at all until you get an approved construction permit, a land disturbance permit, and that grading permit, which those all come from approval of the construction plans.
Yeah, thank you. All right, this is a entertaining motion for the...
Excuse me, did I have to make one more statement?
No, sir, thank you. No, the public hearing is closed, I'm sorry. All right, motion on the floor.
For the sake of discussion, I'll make a motion of approval so we can have discussion.
All right.
And I'll second it.
All right, motion from Ms. Seaborn, second from Ms. McGee.
So, Mr. Luthi, can you talk a little bit about, there has been some initial look at drainage plans and water retention, correct? Can you comment on what the status of that was and what the Planning Development Committee has found?
Yeah, so with this site, because of the large amount of concern from neighboring residents about this site, we thought it might be prudent to have those construction plans be created and reviewed concurrent with the preliminary plat, just because of the large amount of observation going on with this development. So we have had those construction plans have gone through our DAC process. Those have been reviewed. And I believe, there were several rounds of comments that we had. Comments with the wastewater, our stormwater, because we are an MS4 community, so our stormwater is quite stringent. That's gone through reviews with Mr. Patterson. It's gone through reviews with Eric and Adam Carter, our city engineer. And at this time, I believe all of the comments on that one have been addressed. Now, we can't approve those. Those plans cannot be approved yet because there is no approved preliminary plat. They've been reviewed by our Public Works, city engineer, and stormwater engineering departments, and have found that those construction plans have met the comments that are provided to them. But they're not approved yet, so we don't have a preliminary plat.
Thank you.
I do have a question. Although this is just the preliminary only, just for the reassurance of the residents, can we postpone this vote until after these future site visits are made and have all of the information brought back at one time? I think that's fair.
To address your concern, we have to make a determination on this in 30 days from today. We can make a motion to require other things, what needs to happen. Actually, I'll just turn it over to Mr. Worsham and let him clarify on that if you're okay with that.
That's correct.
Okay, so yes, we can postpone this, or we can make a motion to do something until some of this other stuff clears. I think that's within our purview, but I will entertain motions. Mr. Luthi wants to speak, so I'll let him correct me.
Part of the difficulty with that is that those items that we're asking for are not required for the preliminary plat, so we would be postponing a compliant plat for documents and information that is not required, which I do not believe we would have solid enough reason to postpone it, because that information is part of the construction plans. It's not part of the preliminary plat. We have a compliant preliminary plat, so I don't know if we'd be able to postpone this waiting on extra information that is not a requirement in our subdivision regulations or our zoning ordinance.
From your discussion on this, from Mr. Seaborn's comment about that, the construction plans sound like they're almost turnkey after this.
The construction plans that we have checked all of the boxes, yes. However, and I believe this was the discussion we had last time, Our Public Works Department and our city engineer requires a pre-construction meeting before approving construction plans. That pre-construction meeting only takes place the days they have set aside where the city engineer can be present and our stormwater engineer can be present is on Thursdays. So even if, this plat were to get approved and the construction plans were the developer wanted to get those approved, the earliest that would be able to happen would be Thursday, because we'd have to host that, or the Public Works Department would have to set up that pre-construction meeting, and that would be after the TDEC site visit.
Okay.
So just for clarity, this vote for tonight is only for the preliminary plan. It's not for the groundbreaking or any of that.
But if we approve this, they'll be able to break
They'll
ground.
start, okay, so that's what I'm
It
doesn't come back to us.
It doesn't come back to us before that.
It won't come back, okay.
Not for 7 months.
I would like to defer this and hear comments from St. John's.
All right. Yeah, and just so you guys understand, as far as the review process goes, when it comes to wetlands, the city doesn't have any jurisdiction on whether or not waters of the state or waters of the United States are such. So what we do and what our responsibility is as an MS4 is to make sure the applicant goes through their due process. So as part of this review, the TDEC predictor that you heard discussed, it does show possible wetlands on this site. Now, that predictor is wrong quite often. It's right quite often. I've seen it go both ways, probably about 50% of the time. But my comment when I saw that to the applicant was, TDEC, based on that, is going to require that you do an HD, a hydrological determination to determine whether or not these wetlands are there. When you do that, the city wants a copy of that for our files, and so we can see what's there, because if there are waters of the state or waters of the United States there, we do have other requirements that kick in, such as buffer zones that have to be provided and maintained. So we have to know what's there, but it's up to those federal and state agencies to determine whether or not there is anything there, to concur with that. It's the applicant's responsibility to identify anything there, and then those agencies agree or disagree. So we requested a copy of the HD report and the concurrence and received that, so we're satisfied that they had met, their requirements, as part of the application process. So from that standpoint, though, from a standpoint of approving these plans, there is no intention from the Public Works Department to approve these construction plans knowing that these other agencies are coming to see that they agree. And it's actually not even another agency. I mean, it's a different part of TDEC, I guess. I think it's not the Columbia Field Office that's coming this week. I think it's the Natural Resources section out of Nashville that will be coming down. Same department, different section, I guess you would say. And, if they find that there are wetlands on the property and that the original HD and concurrence were wrong, then what the city will require them to do is adjust accordingly. And that really depends on the amount of wetlands that are there. They would have to delineate those wetlands, determine the extent, determine the acreage, basically, and depending on what's found there would determine their next steps. If it's a small area of wetland that could be filled by permit, then likely that's what they would do. And this plat wouldn't probably change at all. If the wetlands are large enough that they would not be able to just fill those by permit or under a general permit, and without getting into mitigation, that type of thing, then they may determine, well, we're going to need to avoid these wetlands, at which point the plat would have to be modified and would have to come back before you guys to show those modifications. So, it really will depend on what is found out there as to what their correct avenue would be at this point, whether they can, get another permit to fill the wetlands and leave this plat as is, or if they would need to avoid those wetlands, and modify the plat accordingly. And that's all going to be based on the size of anything that they find, if they find anything there at all.
Right now, today, TDEC says there's no wetlands.
That's correct.
I'd also like to ask a question about stormwater. So that's about wetlands.
Yes.
I would like to hear your opinion of the idea here and what their plan is to solve stormwater.
So they have, and you have two different aspects of stormwater that have to be dealt with in an MS4 at this point. You have stormwater detention, which is the quantity aspect. You have water quality that has to be dealt with as well. So these basins have been designed as a wet pond that also provides detention. The wet pond aspect of that is to meet the water quality requirements. And then you have the detention requirements above and beyond that to meet the water quantity requirements. What they have proposed for detention is to over-detain. The requirement is that the flow leaving the site after development cannot be any greater, the peak flows cannot be any greater than the flows that are out there today in a pre-developed condition. So, and they are required to provide that detention for the 2-year storm, the 5-year storm, and the 25-year storm here in Tullahoma. The 100-year storm, they have to be able to handle safely, but not necessarily have lower peak flows than prior to development. However, their design does detain for the 100-year storm, and it actually, their peak flows post-development, with the detention as they've designed it, are approximately, they're a little over half of pre-existing flows. I would say, 60% just or so, and for some of the smaller storms on one of the ponds, it actually is half of the pre-existing flows. And overall, it's probably 60%.
So you would say it improves by 40% the flow coming off of this property?
Based on their calculations and the design that they've submitted, that's correct. And which is beyond what is required. I mean, if they are, at 99% of what would be out there today, that would be compliant. The question that you had about
the
drainage easements.
Yeah.
Drainage easements are often misunderstood. I don't even like the term because of the way they're misunderstood. They do not work like a utility easement. A drainage easement does not give the city, the right to come in there and maintain that drainage. In fact, the attorneys with MTAS and the state have determined and said that, it's actually illegal for the city to go in and maintain drainage on private property. So your drainage easements really are just a point of clarification on plats that this area is set aside for drainage and therefore can't be built on, can't be, developed in any other way. But it is not like a utility easement where it's giving some public entity permission to go in and do work. It does not do that.
So I guess when I look at this, I look at the elevation lines on there. There is nothing to direct the water to these open spaces. They don't even call those detention ponds. They're just leaving it undisturbed, right? The open space?
No, these will be ponds.
They will be.
You don't see that. You don't see
I don't see it on here.
Existing topo that you're looking at on that plat.
So that will be a lower area for water to hopefully collect, right?
Those will all be encompassed with ponds.
But there's nothing to direct that water that direction. All the water, all the elevation shows that
No, he's saying
Now,
this
on
is
the
existing
proposed-
topo
yeah,
line.
on
You haven't seen the proposed yet.
topography, the water is directed to those ponds.
They will be doing something like digging out so that the water will go to those ponds? That's what I don't understand, yeah.
Yes, the water will get to the ponds from the street. And now there may be areas like there are for most developments, there may be small areas that don't go to the ponds. You typically don't have 100% of the drainage go to the ponds. You will have areas that will continue to drain where they're
So
draining out.
these only are
That's
from the road out to the ponds, not from the back of the properties out to the ponds?
Yeah, you're not going to take, drainage off of some of the back of these lots that's currently going off the back of these lots.
Will continue.
Likely to continue, and I don't have proposed plans in front of me either, but that would be typical for that to be the case.
Okay. So all solid surfaces would be directed to the retention ponds?
Yes. And I say yes. I don't know, without having those plans in front of me. There are times also when you will have areas that, don't drain directly to the pond, but that's still incorporated into those calculations as an area that, is accounted for, with the over detention. So, off the end of the cul-de-sac, say, that may be draining out there and not going to the ponds. Without having that plan in front of me, I can't say for sure on that. But certainly the majority of the roadway would be going into those ponds, yes.
All right, thank you. Any discussion? We make a motion?
I'll make the comment I've made before. We unfortunately, the way our rules are written, we can't deny this because it meets our requirements. I don't like the way our requirements are written because this is not harmonious with the neighborhood that's around us all the way around this. I think that's a problem that we have here in Tullahoma, that you can do something like this. You can put a ton of homes in there with only about, 6 or 7 houses around it. I don't know what we can do about that, but that is not a harmonious way of development, and I don't agree with it, but sorry, we are restricted by what we can do.
I don't necessarily agree with you, but we can do, we can make a motion to postpone this and do what we want to do with that. If we want to do something like that, to wait on the furtherment of the stuff, we can look at things like that. We can vote on it today. I'm up for options. If there's no other discussion, I'll just call a vote.
Does the installation of a fence constitute disturbance of the soil? That's a
Sir,
question for Samuel.
This is a discussion amongst the commission at this point. There's no other public comment.
The public, we have input on this, and so you're keeping us out of it.
That
Procedural.
I understand. I hear your comment.
You're not going to have to live beside this mess. So
I do live beside. I do. I live 200 meters from there. Anyway, the public comment is over. And this is the process. I'm sorry, but I cannot allow you. We can't address that. All right, I'll call a vote if there's no other discussion.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone it 30 days.
The videos we were not able to show tonight on his phone.
We got a motion to do what?
Postpone to the next meeting.
Postpone, motion to postpone to the next meeting.
Second.
And a second from Ms. McGee. All right, and we were postponing and waiting on.
So just to clarify, how much time will we have after that postponement to?
I do believe that because this is compliant, if you postpone it, it'll hit the over 30 days and would be approved.
By default?
You do not have, there is nothing, we can't just postpone projects for information that's not required. According to our subdivision regulations.
So our next meeting's over 30 days from now?
What's that?
Our next meeting's over 30 days from now?
No, we have 30 days from when the project was deemed fully submitted. to approve it and review it.
Do you know what date that was? Or
Over 30 days ago. This project received requests from the developer to defer and to wait on that to address comments, but it has been 30 days since the project has been complete and deemed satisfactory, and all the required pieces had been submitted. It was brought before you today as a compliant, per our subdivision regulations and zoning ordinance, a compliant preliminary plat.
I'm just asking, do we know, if we don't tonight, if we postpone tonight, at what date will it automatically be approved?
At this point, I would have to check. I mean, I believe the applicant would have to take it before a judge to get that approved, but that would be tomorrow.
Okay.
Because we don't have subsequent ground or substantial grounds for postponing because full compliance has been displayed with the preliminary plat requirements.
I'm often wrong, but I was under the impression that we had 30 days from when it presented from this board initially.
You did.
Is that true?
We are required to review and either approve or deny within 30 days of submission, not from review.
Okay.
That's not what I thought. I thought it was the other way around too.
Can we verify that, Mr. Worsham? Mr. Worsham, do you have an opinion differing?
No, I agree with Mr. Lee. I think he's
Okay.
Well, that means if it didn't even show up, it would be approved whether it got here or not. Right? I mean, it doesn't seem like we have an option to postpone.
So if an item is submitted, it has to be reviewed. If it is deemed non-compliant, it does not get placed on the agenda, and that clock is not able to be utilized. Once an application is submitted and deemed fully complete, it is put on to review. If that review finds that application fully compliant, it is then put on the agenda for your consideration, and then you do have to consider it in that 30-day window. However, if an application, there's no realm where an application is submitted complete and deemed compliant or not compliant that's not put on your agenda. Because if it's deemed non-compliant, it receives a letter of non-compliance and is precluded from that 30-day timer. If it is deemed complete and is compliant, it is required by law. I have to put it on the agenda, and you have to review it. The applicant can also request, even if the project is non-compliant, they can request to be placed on the agenda, at which point you'd be able to deny it. But there is no sort of environment where an application can be submitted that's complete that could just not get on your agenda and utilize that timeline for review and approval to abuse that, essentially. Anything that is deemed complete, if it's non-compliant, I give the applicant the choice to request to remove it from the agenda. If they don't, it goes before you for denial, and if it's compliant, it goes before you for approval.
Right. We have a motion on the floor to postpone.
I rescind my motion.
Okay. Okay. We can vote on it. All right. With that, I'll call the vote on this. All in favor of the Sweetwater Major Subdivision Preliminary Plat as written? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
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 That's 5-1. Abstain? 5-1. Motion fails 5-1.
We have to give a reason, don't we?
All right. Can do another motion. We either have to formally deny this or yes.
So the act of voting no on the approval does substantiate a denial. You don't have to take an extra motion. However, it is a state requirement that if you are going to deny something, you have to cite specifically an area of noncompliance within the zoning ordinance or the subdivision regulations to make that denial substantial and effective.
I would write it, even though we have TDEC approval, I would write it that our denial is based on that there is more outstanding information that TDEC may not have, that we may not have, and that we wait until we get that information.
So I think in my opinion, and this is that the denial is based on the fact that there's been a formal complaint, and we're denying that based on that we have not had time to evaluate that past that formal complaint.
However, I will need a cited area of noncompliance, then either within the subdivision regulations or the zoning ordinance.
Section 4.4 of the
Clean Water Act.
I'm not a hydrologist.
Site plans.
I'm not a hydro. I don't. The denial is based on the determination on the wetlands in the subdivision thing. I don't know what section that is, but we can. If you want to give me a day, I can get the answer, but I don't have it in front of me.
Looking for clarification on TDEC's approval. And
is that enough?
I've got several
Sorry.
motions here. I don't know what
All right, I think Mr. Rice had it.
yeah, I think we're looking for, waiting for a confirmation of TDEC's approval.
A motion to deny pending TDEC approval.
Sure. Well, TDEC's already approved it. Pending further investigation based on TDEC approval.
Yes, looking for further investigation.
We have approval.
It would have to be based on the complaint, wouldn't it? It would have to be based on the complaint.
Got it.
I just made my vote based on Mr. Luthy's comment that they are compliant, and so now we're trying to say that they're not compliant.
I don't think we're saying that they're not compliant. I think it's important that we get the information.
I agree, and we're going to get it, and and if it comes back bad, that's going to make them change their plans. I just wanted to clarify that, Mr. Luthy has told us it's compliant. He's asking us to say where it's not compliant with this approval process, not with everything through the entire process. Am I correct in that?
Okay.
Well, at this point, the vote's been taken. We can't necessarily rescind it at this point in this meeting. Correct?
I believe the original commissioner who made the original motion could make a motion to re-evaluate the original motion. So I believe it was you, Commissioner Rice, who made the original motion.
I think I made the amendment.
I made it. So
whoever made the original motion could make a motion to reconsider.
You can do that.
Yep, so I'll make a motion to reconsider if that's what everybody wants to do. I got no issue with that.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Reconsider. Are we voting again?
So let's don't just vote, because that's...
Do we want to allow anybody else to come up and talk before we take another vote and just go through the same thing again?
It sounds like we have no option,
I like to clarify some things you guys mentioned.
which is a shame. Mr. Sellers pointed out.
Do we want to allow anybody to come up here and discuss anything?
Do we have that kind of power? I think we do.
I would say that we would. We would allow someone to clarify.
I don't think we do, but I will obtain legal advice.
I think we're right back to the...
Mr. Worsham, do we have the power to allow people to come up here and...
You can certainly amend your rules right here if you want to vote to do that, because obviously you do. But I think Mr. Luthy wants to clarify one thing for you, perhaps didn't get clarified appropriately about approval at this time, because it does meet our second subdivision regulations.
Yeah, even if this gets approved, and TDEC does their site visit, if TDEC modifies that permit at all, part of the land disturbance permit is supplying that TDEC permit. So, regardless of what happens, if TDEC goes out and finds wetlands, they can rescind their notice of coverage, at which point you can't pull construction permits, you can't pull disturbance permits. I don't want the commission to think that approving this is allowing all this to be bypassed. Anything that comes out of the state, we require that state permits for that construction permit. So if that state permit were to go away, you couldn't pull construction permits, couldn't get a disturbance permit, grading permit, can't do any work on the site. And again, this is just for the preliminary plat. This does not permit grading, does not permit site work, does not permit the removal of a tree, absolutely nothing. All of that is part of the construction plans. And if there are new developments with the hydrology studies and reports on this site, and those are to change, TDEC would require different information be provided. They'll require different site features to be accommodated for, and this will have to come back before you. So really, the two outcomes from this meeting are the site is determined that the current hydrology report is correct, at which point it can proceed as drawn and as you have approved, or the study goes out and determines that the hydrology report was not correct and that the notice of coverage was given in error, at which point the site would have to be modified and it would have to come back before you for reapproval. So there is no possible way at this time for the commission to put anyone in a position where the reviews from the state could be bypassed or where construction permits would be granted in error. Really, all that would happen is either the project proceeds as planned because the reports are satisfactory, or the project requires revision because the reports were deemed unsatisfactory.
I agree with you. I just think that we are here to understand that compliance, and I feel like there is enough question on the floor to want to wait until that final determination is actually made before we proceed. And that's my position. I mean, I don't think we're trying to bypass anything. I don't think anything of such.
I would like to ask the question: is it possible on the parts of the property with the stormwater that are not going to the retention pond to create more disturbance than there is currently?
More disturbance? I'm not sure I understand.
More water flow, more issues than they're having now with the water flow that's not going to the detention pond.
Your flows are required to continue going the same directions that they're going now. So those areas that are flowing to the north will be going through the detention areas, other than possibly off of the back of a lot, which would not be changed from what's there now. So, you know, the overall, I guess for a very small area, it is possible, yes, that you could have an area, say, on the cul-de-sac that would create more flow to a given drain than what's going there now. That would be accounted for in the overall calculations for the site. You know, the design engineer could probably speak to whether or not that is the case on this one. I don't have those grading plans in front of me, or I could.
Do we have the design engineer here for that?
No, we've turned all of our stuff to the city and they've approved it, so I didn't think he needed to be here.
So the plans are already approved?
No, they are not.
I think it was.
There are no standards.
You can address the commission.
And as I said earlier, you know, the intent of the Public Works Department is not to approve those plans with additional information coming. You know, there's nothing, as Samuel said, there's no approval you could give tonight that would keep them from having to adequately deal with any wetlands that are found on that property, if there are any wetlands found on that property. If there are none found on that property, then they would be able to continue with this plat and with the construction plans that they have. But TDEC is not, if TDEC or the Corps of Engineers, you know, was to go out there and say, yes, there are wetlands here, it was missed on the initial report and it was missed by whoever came down from TDEC and provided the concurrence, their outcome is not going to be, well, we missed it, you're okay, you can continue on and do whatever you want with those wetlands, it's on us. They are still going to require the developer to deal with those wetlands appropriately if they're there.
Okay. I don't have any more questions.
I don't have any.
You want to do a motion to reconsider?
What's our motion? We have a motion to reconsider.
He already had a...
All right. I made a motion. I don't know if anybody seconded me.
Yeah, it was Ms. McGee. All right. So
do we have to vote on that motion?
we need to vote on the motion to reconsider.
Okay.
So vote on the motion to reconsider. All in favor of reconsider.
So just think about what that means so everybody understands. If you vote yes, it means we're going to vote on it again. If we vote no, it'll be to maintain the 5-1 vote that we just had.
Yes.
Just so everybody understands.
Say that one more time.
We're just
vote yes on the motion to reconsider, it'll be I took that first vote and we'll start again.
That's correct.
If we vote no, the vote we just took will stand.
All in favor to reconsider?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion to reconsider passes 6-0. All right. New motion.
Motion to approve pending staff comments and approval.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Rice, second from Mr. Seaborn. I'll let you get caught up, because I'm behind. I can't write that fast. Okay. Any more discussion on this at all? If we're voting no, I think we need to come up with a reason in the subdivision restrictions. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, all in favor?
Hold on, Mr. Ruthie, I think I have a comment, and I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, one thing that might help on this one is I believe you'd be able to put a condition on this one, that a condition on the approval that requires any modifications to the site to be deemed major. I know in our subdivision regulations that there are minor and major modifications, and generally those are to the purview of the Development Advisory Committee, and then I have ultimate authority to determine whether or not they're major or minor. If they're minor, the DAC can approve those revisions. If they're major, you have to approve them. If it would help, you could put a condition that any and all modifications on this plat are deemed major. If anything has to change, it'll have to come back before you. That way you don't have to worry about, whether or not we are determining whether or not they're major or minor. You can just require that all of them are major. So if there are any modifications, it'll have to come back before this board.
I concur with that. I believe that's correct.
Okay. Do we want to
make a friendly amendment to your own motion if you want?
I'll make an amendment to amend my motion to allow that any modification to the plat will be considered a major modification, therefore it should come back before the board.
I concur with the second.
Good. All right. Any discussion on the motion?
Thank you.
All right. Vote on the motion. Motion is written.
Amendment.
The motion to amend the motion as written.
Motion to amend the motion. I was considering it as a friendly amendment, but we can vote on it.
Yeah, let's vote. We'll just vote on it. All right. All in favor of that amendment is written. Aye. Aye. Opposed? Any more discussion on the additional thing? I'll call the vote. All right. All in favor of the approval of the Sweetwater Major Subdivision Boundary Plat, subject to the amendment of that all modifications on this will be deemed major and they will come back to the Planning Commission. Aye.
Aye.
Nay. And abstained. All right. Motion passes 5-1.
That whole process was a joke. I'm just sorry.
Me. Motion passes 5-1. With that, we will close this hearing, or we're at the end of our subdivision plats. So we'll move on.
That was an absolute joke. Here's the public record.
All right. B. Moving on. I'll give it a second.
I meet a lot of people. I'm not down here all the time because they shouldn't do the job. That was one of those jobs before. Chaos for the last few weeks. I just moved into a house.
We can address that.
All this.
All right.
It's just hard to get to everybody.
I don't see how you manage.
All right, moving on. B, site plans. 501 South Jackson Street, site plan. Request for the Planning Commission to approve the site plan. Purpose of this site plan is to create new multi-tenant commercial buildings and accompanying parking for said tenants. Applicant is Mr. Joe Denby. I'd like to invite the applicant to come over this time, or again, Mr.
I want to make, I'm sorry, this is South Jackson, correct?
Are we?
Yes.
Are we good? Sir, sir, sir. It's not the time. Sir. All right, this is 501 South Jackson Street.
Okay, thank you.
You're recognized.
My name's Kenny Sadler. I'm the design engineer for this. Address 4866 Woodbury Highway, Manchester. I'm representing Mr. Denby tonight for this development. Mr. Denby is present if anyone has a question for him. The development would be for a 3,000 square foot retail building. It's right there beside 7-Eleven, the new 7-Eleven that just went in there at the intersection. This property is West Volney Street and South Jackson Street, and it has a small accessory building behind this building also.
All right, thank you. All right, these are also public hearings, I believe. Yes, they're public hearings. So anyone in the public who wants to speak on the site plan at this time is welcome to come forward. All right, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Mr. Luthy, staff report.
Yeah, you might recognize this property. This one was came before you. It was owned by Mr. Samuel Kehoe, and this one got rezoned from C2 to C1. And now Mr. Denby has purchased the property and would like to build the proposed commercial structure on it. This property has been vacant for quite some time. When the original 7-Eleven was built, they got offered this property. They were going to purchase it, then they decided not to purchase it, so it sat vacant. Because of its C2 zonings, the setbacks are quite oppressive, with a front setback of 35 feet and a side setback of 35 feet because of it being a corner lot. So it never got developed. But it has since been rezoned to C1, with the setbacks in C1 are a lot more favorable for it being able to be developed. And so there is a commercial project that is being shown before you today. In our review of this, a couple of the comments that came up, there is a sidewalk that is shown on South Jackson. We requested, and it was complied with, to have that sidewalk continue along West Volney Street. So if that sidewalk continues along Volney out back to Atlantic, we'll have a stub to connect to when that property behind this one ever develops. I'll be able to get that sidewalk so you can get access from Atlantic to South Jackson. There is a small storage building in the back. That's accessory storage for the proposed retail building. And then we discussed with the applicant, they didn't think they would need a full dumpster, so this site is going to have a roll cart, and there's a pad set aside for that our Public Works Department got to look at, and they're okay with that. And then outside of that, everything else is as expected and complies with their zoning ordinance.
All right, thank you, Mr. Luthy. I'm trying to find my place here, so. That's 9A5, okay. Here we go, perfect. All right. All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion from the commission.
Sorry. For approval.
Motion to approve, Mr. Mayor Seaborn, second from Mr. Rice. Any discussion on the site plan? Thanks for the comment about the sidewalks. I like that. That's one of the things I look for.
What is in the back of the property? It kind of looked like a pond to me, but then it says grass. I'm kind of unsure, and I guess it's the trash bin back there where the concrete is, maybe.
Yeah, that area that you see outlined there is a detention basin.
Okay.
That it's meets the pre versus post comments that Mr. Patterson was talking about before. And it actually reduces the rate of runoff by about half as well. But it is, all that area there outlined is a detention basin that you see there for the 2-year through the 100-year storm event.
And that backs right up against that exit road on the backside of the 7-Eleven there?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? With that, I'll call the vote. All in favor of the site plan as written, subject to staff comments, if there was any. Looks like they're minor. Okay. All right. All in favor, aye?
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Okay. The motion passes 6-0. Rezone requests, Section C. Samuel Ordinate rezone request. A request for the Planning Commission to provide comment to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen regarding rezoning of 603 South Franklin Street. The applicant is Mr. Samuel Ornate. I'd like to invite the applicant or representative this time. Seeing none, we will move on to the public hearings. These are public hearings, so I'd invite anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this rezone request to come forward at this time. And I'll close the public hearing, so we'll move to staff report. Mr. Lilly.
Yeah. This rezone for Mr. Onate is at 603 South Franklin Street. There's a building that's on that site that is in the process of being renovated and turned into apartments. I think 1 or 2 of the units are occupied. A couple of the other units are under construction. When this one originally came through, I think he spoke to, I don't know who he spoke to, but he thought he was going to be able to turn this into apartments, but it was zoned C2. So in order for him to be able to keep these as apartments, it would have to be rezoned, and the appropriate zone in this area is C3 for that one. So you're seeing this before you today to get that property rezoned to C3 so that we can get this existing structure into compliance.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lilly. All right. Motion from the commission?
Motion to send a favorable recommendation.
All right. Second from McGee, Sellers and McGee. All right, any discussion on this? Then I'll call the vote. All in favor to send a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen regarding this rezone request? Aye? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes 6-0. Sandra Farah, rezone request. Request for the Planning Commission to provide comment to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen regarding the rezoning of 107 South Polk Street. The applicant is Mr. Marco Cruz. I'd like to invite the applicant to come forward this time if he's available. Sir, you're recognized. Thank you. Thanks for your patience.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Marco Cruz with Rico Heart Solutions, LLC. The plan is to rezone, subdivide, and build a couple of office spaces or single-family homes.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. This is a public hearing, so anyone from the public who will speak at this time, come forward. All right. Close the public hearing. Mr. Luthi.
Yeah. Like the applicant said, the applicant's looking to have this property rezoned from C2 to C3 to just be able to utilize the flexibility that our C3 zone offers. At this time, the applicant is not sure if he wants to do commercial space or a single-family home. Rezoning the property to C3 allows you to choose one or the other. That makes it more flexible and leaves more potential development avenues to the developer. And C3 is compliant with the surrounding areas, so that's why it's before you today.
All right. Thank you. Commission? Motion for the commission?
I'm just trying to visualize where this is.
It's on South Polk Street. I looked all this up earlier, but I can't remember.
Part I can't even remember where.
It's out past Dameron's, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's it.
Right.
It's over there by East Lincoln.
Yeah, yeah.
Elementary. Yeah. All right. Motion from the commission?
I'll make a motion to approve, or did somebody already do that?
No, it's you.
Okay.
Send a favorable recommendation.
Send a favorable recommendation, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Y'all are gonna train me eventually.
I second.
All right, I got a second from Ms. McGee, so we're good.
I think that's well, it's okay.
I got a motion from Mayor Seymour and a second from Alderman McGee. All right. Any discussion on this one? It is over there by East Lincoln. Like, okay. It took me a second to. I couldn't figure out how I was reviewing.
It was on that side somewhere, but I just had trouble visualizing it.
The side of the. Dairy Queen?
It's on Dairy Queen, but it's a couple blocks up.
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
Oh yeah, no, this is not by Dairy Queen. This is closer to Dairy Queen than these. There's another one from East Lincoln.
Right.
Never mind. Sorry. All right, let's get to business. Any other discussion on this? This is, C2 to C3. All right, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? All right. Motion to send a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen passes 6-0. Item number 3, Joe Denby rezone request. A request for the Planning Commission to provide comment to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen regarding the rezoning of 430, 500, and 2 lots to be determined. Oakwood Road. The applicant is Joe Denby.
Andy Best, representative for Joe Denby. He asked me to come up here and just basically ask. We're going to request four parcels, existing parcels that I did a survey for him on to rezone. I believe from R2 to R3. Is that correct? Yes.
All right. Thank you.
What are the two to be determined lots? Are they the 2 empty lots behind the other ones?
So Marvin, they'll be
subdivided later.
They'll be subdivided later.
They've been subdivided?
No, they haven't been. So
they will be later.
They rezone and then they will be subdivided later.
Okay. Which are these 2 right here? I'm trying to figure out which lot.
All right.
I've got a picture, but it doesn't spell out which lot. That's one. And I think these 2 are maybe.
So on this photo, which one is it? Yeah.
It's that large grass area.
Which large?
There's several sections here, and it's hard to see.
That's what I was going to ask the question.
No.
Right. Yeah.
Hold on, we're trying to figure out which one it is.
Hang on. We need to. This is a public hearing. So anyone want to come speak forward to this? Sorry, I shouldn't point. All right. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and move to Mr. Luthi for the staff report. He can maybe clear up our questions before we have to ask them.
Right. So if you look at the map that you have there, 430 is at the corner of Oakwood and Glasgow Street. 430 is the blue-ish, the kind of light gray roofed house with the 3 accessory structures on it. 500 is that property that has the gravel drive going into it. And then the other 2 properties are the large grass area behind 500. And then the other lot is the other vacant lot behind 430. Those are the 4 lots that we're considering for rezone today.
I still can't figure this out. Okay. I mean, this one, and this. Okay, that makes sense there. Yeah.
The one with the gravel drive, is that what kind of structure is that on there?
Yeah.
So that gravel drive there, I believe there was an existing trailer there that has since been removed. And that gravel drive is being replaced. And I believe it was already slated or dedicated, but not built yet. There is a Chastain Street that goes down between lots 430 and 500, and then terminates in a cul-de-sac on those 2 to be determined lots. So that gravel drive will not be utilized. There'll be an actual road put in there.
So it's the one with the gravel driveway. I think the one to the left of that.
Correct.
The one underneath that one, and the one to the south. I guess that's south. The one south of the gravel driveway, the one to the west of the gravel driveway, and the one to the immediately to the southwest of the gravel driveway.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I got it. Everyone else?
I think so.
So the roadway's already been approved and everything?
The roadway, like the actual engineering plans for it, I'm not sure. I remember that one, there was some discussion on that one already having been started but never finished. I'm not sure that I'd have to defer to the Public Works Department on that one, but we do have some plans drawn up that I've seen go around. But again, we don't have a subdivision plan for this yet. You'll obviously get to review that with a preliminary plat, construction plans, and final plat. This is just the rezone, and this rezone is necessitated because, when looking at R2 to R3, the most tangible difference. And Commissioner Sellers actually called me to ask me about this today, so I figured I'd make a point to explain it to all of you as well. R2 permits single family and duplex. Single family is at 10,000 square feet a unit, but the duplex is at 20,000 square feet a unit, which really makes it not worth ever doing the duplex because you can put 2 single-family houses or 1 duplex on a double-sized lot. R3 allows you to do the duplex, but it's at 7,500 square feet per dwelling unit, so it lets you get a duplex in on a slightly smaller lot. So it makes it more viable to build a duplex. But the important information is the lot widths and the setbacks are the same. The R2 setbacks are 25 feet on the front and rears, 10 feet on the side, and the R3 setbacks are 25 feet on the front and rears and 10 feet on the side. So all we're really changing with the rezone is allowing that duplex to be more feasible to be built on the lots there.
Allows you to put a smaller duplex?
It allows you to make a slightly smaller, to fit the duplex on a slightly smaller lot.
How many houses are we talking about putting on these 4 properties? One of them's already got a house, right? And so you have 3 other properties. Are we talking about putting 6 houses back in there, or 60?
We're not talking about putting any. We're talking about rezoning it.
Yeah, we have not.
I mean, if you rezone it, then they could do that. Then that's making it a lot more dense in the surrounding areas again, like we've talked about.
So the gravel road will become the Chastain Street?
Correct. I don't believe it won't curve. It'll come straight down and terminate in a cul-de-sac.
Do we have a motion?
No, he was just still giving staff comments.
Let's do a motion so we can actually discuss
Staff
this.
done with comments first.
Yeah.
I would just like to say I've looked at the surrounding lots. Part of what I do when I bring this to you is I do check the surrounding area for average lot sizes. If a rezoning ever does come before you where it is irregular, that'll certainly be one of the planning considerations. The lots around there, especially if you look just north on Oakwood, those are about 0.16 acre lots.
They're very tight.
So they're like 6,000 to 7,000 square feet lots. And the lots we're proposing would be 7,500 square feet for a single family, which is almost identical to the lots on Oakwood. Or if it's a duplex, it would be 15,000 square feet, which would be about the size of some of the larger lots. If you look on Oakwood, near the Walker Street intersection, 408, there's some houses on the larger one. So the duplex would be about the same size as the duplex lots, and then the single families would be, I believe, slightly larger than the single family lots that are currently there on Oakwood Road.
Okay. You're done with your staff report?
What's that?
Is that you're done with your staff report?
Correct.
Okay. All right. I'll entertain a motion from the commission.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Mr. Seymour. Second from Ms. McGee. Mr. Sadler, if you'd like to come up and address your whatever.
Okay. There was just a couple of questions. I'm not here for the rezoning, but I did do the design for Oakwood, the extension. And Mr. Rice and Mr. Klein were asking about Oakwood. So there was an approval through Public Works to build that road. It was basically an unfinished road. It was just a gravel driveway. So there was an approval, and Mr. Denby is in the process now of upgrading that road to serve the 4 lots that are currently there. So that has been done and has been approved. It has nothing really to do with the rezoning, but there were a couple of questions I was just trying to clarify.
Okay.
That was approved through Public Works, and that work is underway now.
All right. Thank you. All right. Any other discussion?
So duplexes or single-family houses still could be built on these lots if they remained R2, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes.
They just wouldn't be able to be small.
The duplex lot in R2 is 20,000 square feet. The duplex lot in R3 is 15,000 square feet. So it's 25% smaller. And there's the same lot width of 125 feet. So, it can just be slightly shallower in R3.
It would help.
I mean, it'd be nice, but I don't necessarily see that it's something that really needs and has to be done. You could build something there to meet the requirements currently. They could still put their cul-de-sac there and build something, correct? the lot size is conducive to be able to build something of that size. So,
What's total acreage of all this? Roughly speaking.
He explained that.
Yeah, I know, I missed it. I'm sorry.
I wasn't
Oh, yeah, yeah.
smart or anything.
No, that's okay. You probably should be to me. I just.
Okay. He explained that.
All right.
If you combine all the lots, it's about 2.5 acres.
Okay.
What's the, is there a maximum development number for 2.5 acres for R3? Is it?
We don't have maximum development numbers in our current ordinance.
I understand that, but there's a theoretical maximum that we can. I don't know if you don't have it, I'm not too concerned. I just kind of like, to address Mr. Seller's question from earlier. Is like, how much can we actually put here?
Well, I think the important thing to consider is that in R2 and R3, your minimum lot width is both for the duplexes 125 feet. And with the roadway already being approved, you can only fit so many lots along that roadway. So changing from R2 to R3 would allow you to make the lots shallower, but it would keep them at the same width. So it really wouldn't, it's not going to allot. Maybe could get an extra lot with a panhandle, but that's about it.
This is really just helping with setbacks and whatnot.
The setbacks are the same in R2 and R3.
Just the size of the unit.
Okay.
It just takes 5,000 square feet off the minimum lot area. That's really the only tangible difference between R2 and R3 with respect to duplexes.
Okay. I'm sure that there's good reason. I don't know. All right. All in favor of the rezone request? Joe Demme rezone request. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Do you have another comment, Ms. McGee?
No.
All right. All in favor of the motion to send a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Alderman for the Joe Demme rezone request? Aye. Aye. Opposed?
Opposed. Nay.
Nay. Okay. That motion passes 5-1 with Mr. Rex opposing. All right. Item number 4. Garabati? Rezone request. A request from the Planning Commission to provide a comment to the Board of Mayor and Alderman regarding the rezoning request for 808 East Lincoln Street. The applicant is Mr. Cassandra Garabati. And if you'd like to pronounce your name correctly for me, that'd be wonderful.
That is, you got it right.
Okay, good.
It's Garabati, Cassandra Garabati. I have a property at 808 East Lincoln Street. When I purchased it, it was C3. I put a daycare in it, and I've closed my daycare, so I'd like it to go back to C3 so it can be a residential use again.
Okay. It's C2 currently.
Yes, we're going to C3.
Going to C3. Okay.
Right?
That's what's on the application.
All right, thank you. If we have any more questions, we'll get to you. All right, this is a public hearing, so anyone would like to speak on this at this time? Seeing none, Mr. Luthi.
Like the applicant said, this property is zoned C2 currently, which allowed it to be used as a daycare. A daycare has since been retired and has been returned to a residence. And so the applicant is seeking a rezone to C3 so this could be used as a residence again.
C3 is that the C3 is the mixed use or whatever? Okay, all right. I was thinking R3 for some reason. Okay, I got you. Thank you. All right. All right. Motion for the commission.
Motion to send a favorable recommendation to the board.
All right. Motion for Mr. Sellers. Second for Ms. McGee. All right. Any discussion on this? All in favor of send a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Alderman for rezoning from C2 to C3? Aye. Opposed? All right. Motion passes 6-0. Send a favorable recommendation. With that, we are at the end of our agenda for the Planning Commission, so we are adjourned from there, and I will call to order the Board of Zoning and Appeals meeting. The first item on the agenda is to
read and approve the minutes from December 15th, 2025 BOZA meetings. I will entertain a motion, the minutes as written. Motion to approve from Sellers, second from Mr. Rice. All in favor of the minutes as written? Aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Motion to approve the agenda, Mr. Rice. Starting to sound like auctioneer.
Second.
Second for Mr. Sellers. All in favor of the agenda as written? Aye. Aye. There is no old business. There is no new business. Therefore, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Lynn, I've got 10 minutes.